Hey gang, Todd and Sunny here, and things come to a head on Ripley. Uh, Tom's been there for approximately 2 months. He's become fluent in Italian. He gets a letter from Mr. Greenleaf, as does Dickie. Tom's letter informs him that he thinks that Tom's not been totally upfront with him about his efforts, that he's just kind of stringing him along to get more money. And he's talked with Dickie, and Dickie has no intention of coming back. He doesn't blame Tom, but they're going to have to terminate their agreement. Tom makes several attempts to slip Dickie's letter away from him, but ultimately fails. He does spy on Dickie and Marge talking about the letter. Meanwhile, they take a trip along with Tom. He thinks they're going to go look at art, but nope. They take a trip into Naples to buy a refrigerator. Tom hates this. It's so domestic. Bourgeois. What do you need a refrigerator for? Because they don't want to have to go shopping for food every day. And they can have ice whenever they want it for their drinks. Hey. Well, also, there's going to be a Christmas get-together, but Tom's not invited. Marge and Dickie are going to go, you remember Freddie, they're going to go to his Christmas party, blah, 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 blah. Tom wouldn't enjoy it. Then Dickie suggests he and Tom go on a little excursion to San Ramon. More paintings to look at. Cool. While there, Dickie begins an exhaustive hunt for a special perfume he promised Marge, and he finally gets it. While he's been searching, Tom's been hanging out on the beach, and he's amazed at all these men, these muscular men in their swimsuits, and they're doing all these acrobatics and things. He just thinks that's marvelous. Dickie informs him that they're doing that to pick up male tourists for some hanky-panky. I don't think Tom ever quite grasps that, or pretends he doesn't. Then Dickie decides, you know what? We should rent a boat. So they go to a boat. Tom's a little apprehensive about this. He knows what he would do in a situation like this. He wonders if that's what Dickie's planning. Well, they motor out till they're out of sight of shore. Dickie stops the boat, turns the motor off, and says they need to have a discussion. He reveals that the letter he received from his father is pretty much, he doesn't know who Tom really is, doesn't trust Tom, he thinks Tom's been using him, and you should be careful around him. And he's been discussing this with Marge, and they believe it's time for Tom to move on. He's been there for a couple of months. He knows the language now. He doesn't really need Dickie, and Dickie and Marge want to be spending more time together. Well, Tom, he's apologetic. He had no idea he was becoming such a burden. Dickie is completely right. It's time for him to move on. And he thanks him for reminding him of this. Well, Dickie's kind of surprised. He thought there'd be anger, recriminations, yelling and shouting. But he's happy that Tom is seeing it this way, and he turns around, turns the motor on the boat back on, and Tom beats him until he doesn't move anymore with an oar. I mean, it's devastating and cold-blooded. And you can see Tom has no feeling whatsoever. He doesn't feel anger. He's not feeling ecstasy. It's just he feels this is something he has to do, so might as well get it over with. He was planning this anyways. Well, with Dickie dead, now you got to get rid of the body. Oh, boat has a huge concrete anchor. He'll use that, but he doesn't have a knife. So he cleans out Dickie's pockets, cigarette case, cigarette lighter, perfume, money, wallet, everything. Sunglasses. Anyways, using the lighter, he tries to set the rope of the anchor on fire, but it just doesn't catch. So he takes one of the fuel cans and he pours water over that part of the boat, because you can't get just the rope wet. Anyways, he sets the rope on fire. This works. He's able to snap the rope, and the fire actually goes out after a few minutes. It's a pretty well-made boat. Anyway, he then ties the rope around Dickie's ankles and heaves the anchor overboard. But he wasn't really paying that good close attention, because the rope snaps back as it uncoils and knocks him out of the boat. He bumps the rotor on the motor and the boat takes off full speed in a big circle because the anchor. So we get like a long extended section of this episode is just Tom trying to get back onto the boat. He gets clipped almost a couple of times, and he almost gets ripped up by the propeller at one point, but he finally manages to get back aboard. Okay, now we got to get Dickie overboard. And first he has a cigarette, kind of calm himself down. Then he tips the body overboard. Heads back towards shore. He comes to a little cove. Gets out and pours the rest of the fuel onto the boat. Sets it on fire and starts to push it out into the water. When he realizes the boat's not going to burn up. As he should have realized that from earlier when he was getting the anchor rope loose. Anyway, brings it back in and starts loading huge rocks into it, picking them up from under the water and the shore and everything. And finally, when it's just chock full, he pushes it out a ways and then starts dipping it to get water in, and he finally sinks it. Only it's a little too shallow, and the motor is sticking up out of the water. He can't fix that. He has no idea how to get that off, so he leaves it. This section, you almost feel sorry for him because he's got so much trouble after this point. But he goes to the hotel where he's a little nervous. Police are out front. What's up with that? But he goes up to his room, packs his things, packs Dickie's things. He gets all of Dickie's stuff out of the one drawer where Dickie had locked it with the room key, and goes down, checks out, says he needs both passports. His friend is waiting at the station for him. Desk clerk's a little suspicious, but he gives it to him anyways. And then he has to sneak past the hotel because the police are now talking to the boat rental guy. And he can kind of hear him saying, I don't remember their names. It was two Americans. But he makes it past them, and he gets on the train back to Naples. And after it pulls out, he puts on Dickie's ring that he had admired from the beginning. He is now Dickie in his mind. Whew, quite an episode. Almost over half of it is taken up by his misadventures with covering up the murder. And as I said, you almost feel sorry for Tom, or at least a little sympathetic. It's just one thing after another. I can only imagine what's going to happen when he gets back to the villa, because he's going to need to go there just to get the bank books and stuff for Dickie's bank accounts. Otherwise, he can't access those. And I'm sure he's going to come up with some crazy story to tell everybody. But yeah, this is where things are starting to heat up, and he's ready to start his new life, being able to appreciate what Dickie never could. And Tom's become he's shown his true colors at this point. He is basically a sociopath, and he is frightening. Well, please hit like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.